So for the long-time viewers of this channel, you guys would remember a few comments I've made in the past about VR and how skeptical I was of how successful VR could be. I think I even went as far as to call VR a worthless gimmick, and I truly believe that this concept was going absolutely nowhere. I thought it was going to go the same way as the 3D televisions, remember those? Yeah, I thought it was going to be the same thing as that. I thought virtual reality was just going to be another passing fad. But at this point, I can say I was completely wrong about that. Granted, back when I was saying things like that in 2016, 2017, I was a troll, I was a contrarian, I was always saying things that were opposite of what everyone else believed, so I was shitting on VR, I was shitting on Nintendo, I was just a dick. But I actually did genuinely believe that VR was going nowhere, and within a few years, people would just forget about it. But that obviously never happened. And there are two things that have happened that really made me change my mind on VR and make me realize VR actually has a real future in the video game industry, and it's only going to keep growing and growing and growing. Now, it's never going to, replace the traditional way of playing games. I don't think it's going to replace your traditional video game experiences where you have a controller or a keyboard and mouse and you're just playing in front of a screen, no virtual world. I don't think VR is ever going to replace that. I don't think VR is going to be the standard of gaming. It's just going to be another way, a different way to play games. But there were two things that made me realize that VR is going to be very successful. One, the Oculus Quest. Now, the big reason why I was skeptical about the success of VR was all the wires and everything that was involved in setting it up. An average person can't really do that. Never mind how expensive the VR headsets are. Let's say the Valve Index, I believe it's $800, somewhere in that ballpark. The average person isn't going to spend that kind of money on not only a headset, but the gaming PC you need in order to run the headset. It just is way too expensive for the average person to afford. But besides that, I was skeptical about the whole idea. It's just a huge setup, especially with the Valve Index. You have to have all these sensors hooked into your walls, and it's just you have to have a large space in order to play. But with the Oculus Quest, it's a wire-free VR headset. And I think that is where the future of VR is headed. That's where the majority of VR success is going to come from. It's going to come from headsets like the Oculus Quest that, are less powerful than PC VR, but it's the most accessible way to play VR. Because it's cheaper, you don't need a PC, you don't need wires to hook up, and it's just a lot easier to get into. So the launch of the Oculus Quest made me start to realize, holy shit, this is actually going somewhere. I can imagine that this is where the future of VR is. And of course, you'll have the higher end headsets for enthusiasts, but most of the casual base of VR players, that's where they're going. They're going to the Oculus Quest, and that's how VR is really going to grow and reach the mainstream. That's really the only way I can see it happening. No one's going to buy a gaming PC just to play VR. But that's one thing. The other thing, when I saw games like Half-Life Alyx, I'm like, holy shit, there actually is real potential for the actual gameplay of VR. Because before I was I looked at these games like Beat Saber and all these other VR games that really didn't have a lot of depth to them. They were really fun, they looked really cool, but all they were glorified tech demos. They were proofs of concept. That, oh, look at this technology, look at how cool it is, but the actual gameplay lacked true depth, and they can get boring really quickly, and we still get games like that, like Vader Immortal. I know everyone was hyping that game up, the lightsaber VR game, but it ends really quickly. After a couple hours, the entire story is done, and it doesn't really, it doesn't have as much depth, obviously, as Jedi Fallen Order, for example. It's really cool that you're in a virtual world and you kind of feel like you're in a real lightsaber duel, so that kind of makes the difference for a lot of people. But I just feel like VR really lacked the true depth of video games, but games like Half-Life Alyx really changed the game, because it makes you feel like VR actually has true potential to really immerse yourself into the game, where, of course, VR is the most immersive way to play games, where you actually feel like you're in the world, but as far as, having true depth and content that rivals your traditional video game experience, VR was definitely lacking in that regard. Most of the games you played did not feel like full games. But considering how successful Half-Life Alyx was and how critically acclaimed it was, that it really rivaled the experience of a traditional video game that's just full of content and has an amazing story, amazing writing, everything is just great. I think VR really has that potential to grow significantly, and it already is. I mean, it's been growing so much over the past few years, but I think most of that success, most of that growth will be from the wireless headsets, of course. I'm sure a lot of you may be disappointed to find out that I am still yet to try VR. I still haven't played a game in VR yet, which is kind of crazy because a lot of people have done it, and I still haven't played it. I'm still a VR virgin. I've never played anything in VR ever before, so I still haven't tried it myself, and I don't even know if I like it or not. The reason why I haven't tried VR, even though I'm really excited about its potential, is because I'm afraid of putting down several $100s at least for something that I'm not sure if I'm going to like, because there really isn't a lot of opportunity for me to try it out. Like, I don't know people that live near me that have a VR headset. I just don't have that kind of access to it, and I really don't have an opportunity to just try it out. And the reason why I'm nervous about not liking it, even though it looks really cool and seems really cool, is because you still have most of the games in VR that are glorified tech demos. I mean, they're really cool. Beat Saber's really cool, but I want more than that. And Half-Life Alyx is great, and I can use PC VR with the Oculus Quest if I want. Like, if I decide to get the Oculus Quest 2 for $300, I could just hook it up to my PC, and I can play Half-Life Alyx. So that seems really cool, but I don't even know if would actually be good with VR, because I heard it's really not good with people with serious motion sickness. I am someone, you put me in the car for 10 minutes, I feel like I'm going to vomit. I can't go on a roller coaster. I can't really have a lot of fun in amusement parks. I have awful motion sickness, worse than anybody I know. So I hear that VR, it's really easy to get sick, and I know it's gotten a little bit better because the pixel quality is better. You know, like the PSVR, I heard people really getting sick with that because the resolution was pretty low. But even with, I guess the higher-end VR headsets, because they're a bit more, because they have more pixel density, and because they have a sharper picture, that they give you less of that motion sickness because you feel more in part with the game. But if I play one game, I heard from a friend that if you, let's say you play Skyrim VR or Fallout VR, and if you jump off a cliff, you feel like you're actually falling. And I can imagine myself just puking all over the place playing in VR. And that's why I'm kind of skeptical. I don't want to make a huge commitment like that. And I also don't really have a huge space to play VR in my current living situation. I just don't have that. And I guess I could make the room, but it just seems like a lot of work for something that should be as easy and simple and relaxing as playing a video game. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get into it in the future. I really do want to try VR out because it's the one thing that I don't have. I have a good gaming PC. I have consoles, but I've kind of pushed them to the side. So VR is the one experience I haven't had yet, and I definitely want to try it in the future. I just don't know when. So let me know in the comments if you're someone just like me who was skeptical about getting into it but loved it, and you have a similar thing where you have bad motion sickness. Is it actually not as bad as people say it is? Because I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely not going to buy VR just because someone in the comments says it's okay. You know what I mean? It's definitely something that you have to try first before you know if you're going to like it, because it definitely seems like something that's not for everybody. Even as the technology gets better, it's just not going to be for everyone, and that's okay. But I think it just has so much growth potential in the future. I mean, it already is growing at an exponential rate. It has been over the past few years, and I think the Oculus Quest 2 is going to be a smashing success. But leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.